22-year-old Nikki Secondino is facing murder charges and attempted murder charges. She's accused of stabbing her father to death and seriously injuring her sister this morning in Bensonhurst. Sources say she first lied to police, claiming it was a home invasion, but later confessed. The victim has been identified as 61-year-old Carlo Secondino.
Today we are discussing the horrifying case of Nikki Secondino. Nikki is accused of committing the act of patricide on her 61-year-old father, Carlo Secondino, and the attempted murder of her 19-year-old sister, Liana Secondino. Abandoned by her mother and living with her father and sister in a small apartment in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, New York, which is located on 17th Avenue near 82nd Street. 22-year-old Nikki is a transgender woman and aspiring model. Carlo was a delivery driver for Mark's Diner in New York. The family resided in this residence for over 10 years and kept to themselves.
Neighbor Joe Pagano says he knew the family.
2 daughters and a father. That's all I know, really. They kept to themselves, I don't know much about them. And I've been here for 12 years and they've been here just as long.
The Secondino family may have kept to themselves. However, they were not unknown to the other residents in their building. Unfortunately, they were known for Nikki's violent outbursts and the police visiting their home frequently. Last year, there were 3 documented disturbances that were stemming from domestic disputes at the Secondino home. All of this is leading up to the grisly scene that would play out on December 29th of last year, where Nikki would go on to kill her father and critically injure her sister Liana. Now let's get into what happened that awful day. On December 29th, 2022, just before 6 a.m., Nikki ran to her neighbor's apartment, covered in blood and screaming bloody murder. The neighbor, Susie Lou, was so terrified by what she saw, when she opened the door, she slammed it shut immediately upon seeing the bloody sight of Nikki. She waited for Nikki to leave before opening the door again and taking a peek outside. What she saw was a bloodbath, and she describes it as a scene from a horror movie. I'm going to read to you a statement from Susie Lou and her accounts on the events, and the site that I'm getting this from is officialnewsbreak.com. He was lying on the kitchen floor, blood all over his chest, completely all saturated in red. He was just lying there, not moving, Lou said. Her bloody fingerprints all over my door from when she was banging on the door, hoping I would open it. And then, when she stopped the banging, and I didn't hear any more movement in the hallway, I slowly opened my door and heard the father yell my name out. "Susie, call the cops," Lou explained to the Post.
I saw the blood in the hallway, and that's when I got shaken up and I closed the door and locked it.
A rattled neighbor who doesn't want her face shown told us what she saw outside of her front door this morning. Police were investigating the murder of a 61-year-old man stabbed to death in his Bensonhurst apartment. His 2 daughters injured. Multiple police sources tell us what was first reported as a home invasion is not so. Instead, this appears to be domestic violence. The sources say one of the girls allegedly stabbed her father to death and then stabbed her sister. The person we met who called 911 said this.
They don't have anything as far as in the house, as far as for 2 guys in face masks to want anything.
She told News 4 around 6 a.m. Thursday on 17th Avenue near 82nd Street, she heard her neighbors screaming, tussling.
I heard the bodies like being slammed around like they were wrestling. It's only sheetrock, so it's not solid brick walls.
When the police arrived at the Secondino home, they walked into a horror show. Carlo Secondino was pronounced dead on site, and 19-year-old Liana was found outside. Liana told the police that Nikki stabbed them and to check on her father. Both Nikki and Liana were transferred to Maimonides Hospital in Brooklyn. Nikki was questioned before and after being transported to the hospital. Nikki told police that 2 intruders dressed in black and donning black ski masks broke into the apartment through the window. She claimed that robbers stabbed her family, but the cops were suspicious of Nikki's story for several reasons. No one was captured on surveillance camera entering the apartment. Also, no one fitting the description of the intruders were seen on camera. The police spent an entire day searching for 2 men dressed in black and found nothing. Nikki also claimed that the intruders told her to open the safe. However, there was no safe found on the premises, nor was there evidence that there ever was a safe in the Secondino home. Also, the broken window that Nikki said the intruders used to get inside the home appeared to be broken from the inside, and there was no evidence of forced entry. The cuts on Nikki's hands appear to be due to knife slippage, a form of accidental self-infliction caused by a knife. It is caused when a knife keeps slipping from a person's hand while in use. The police also recovered a bloody knife and hammer on the scene. There were no large amounts of cash and jewelry, so there was no reason to rob the home. Nikki's sister Liana also said that Nikki was the one to stab her and her father, and the neighbor, Susie Luce, told the police that she heard Nikki making a phone call right after the slaying. All of this made the police suspect Nikki as the perpetrator. The investigators questioned Nikki again at the hospital, and this time she confessed right in her hospital bed. I'm going to read to you an excerpt from lawandcrime.com, and this is Nikki's statement to the police. I came out of the bedroom, and I saw my father sitting on the couch sleeping, and I bashed his head in with a hammer, said the probable cause statement, summarizing the suspect's alleged account of what happened. I grabbed my favorite German steel knife and stabbed the shit out of him. Nikki Secondino reportedly told police that her sister came out of her bedroom and tried to stop me, which is when she said she stabbed her in the back, head, and stomach. I wanted them dead, Nikki Secondino allegedly told police. If I saw the 911 caller, she would be next. Secondino reportedly said that the deadly attack was unplanned. I didn't plan it, she allegedly told police. I didn't need to. I don't remember where I put the knife, but I'm sure you'll find it, she reportedly added, according to the court filings. Nikki was arrested as soon as she was healthy enough to be released from the hospital. Look at the smile on her face as she's being transported from the police station to her new home at Rikers Island, turning the perp walk into a catwalk.
Nikki, what happened? Nikki, what do you have to say? Do you have anything to say to your sister, Liana? What do you have to say, Nikki?
That's clearly the most attention that Nikki has ever gotten in her life. Apparently, all of this was caused over the use of a laptop. Nikki had argued with her father and sister over the laptop. This is not the first time the Secondino family have had fights. According to the neighbors, fighting was common. No one was surprised.
Father and the stabbing of his 19-year-old daughter.
Yeah, police say they've arrested the older sister in this case, 22-year-old Nikki Secondino, in the incident that happened early this morning at the home in Bensonhurst. A neighbor says the suspect initially told her two men in masks forced their way into the home, but police say that's not what happened. They have charged her with murder and attempted murder in the case. One neighbor says she heard the struggle. She's also said she's heard past fights between the sisters. She has her own theory about what happened.
I think she actually started fighting with the sister, and then the father tried to defend her, and then it just escalated.
Meanwhile, the father worked on Wall Street and recently at a local restaurant.
On July 15, 2022, Nikki called the police and claimed that her father Carlo threatened her. And 2 days later, her sister Liana was charged with assault and criminal mischief for allegedly tearing down window blinds and cutting Nikki's hand. Nikki told the judge that her father was in the mob and that she feared for her life. The judge granted her the restraining order. There was a lot of violence in the Secondino home. The cops were there at least 3 times last year. Carlo apparently was very supportive of Nikki in her transition. However, Nikki oftentimes displayed volatile behavior towards her family members. Carlo complained to his neighbors and co-workers about Nikki, and he was terrified of her.
Of her account. Sources tell us investigators confronted the older daughter about the holes in her story, including that there was no surveillance video of anyone breaking in. That's when we're told the daughter confessed to stabbing both her father and sister.
I don't think it was a surprise to anyone.
Before this happened, police had been called to the home for domestic disputes at least 3 times.
He would express his concerns with her, and he would say that, yeah, he did feel like that yeah, she was a danger to herself, you know, or to others, but nobody would have ever thought that it would have came down to this, what happened.
Nikki Secondino is now charged with murder.
Nikki was arraigned on Monday, January 3rd, 2023, and is being held at Rikers Island without bail. She was charged with second-degree murder, second-degree attempted murder, and 2 counts of fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon. So just some added information to help us get to understand who Nikki is. I'm going to read you an excerpt from the Daily Mail. A further look into the family's past turned up a 2-year-old interview Secondino had done with a YouTube channel focusing on supporting trans individuals. In the video, Secondino describes her father as a traditional Italian man who wanted nothing to do with her transition to a woman. My dad was speechless, she said. He didn't know what to say. My mom didn't know what to say. And around that time, it really wasn't talked about. My parents were very religious. We went to church every Sunday and stuff, she added. Secondino also recalled an early incident in her childhood when she refused to wear boys' swimming trunks, despite her mother's objections. So I found the YouTube channel, and it's called United We Rant. And the title of the video is called Nikki, Tales of Transition Number 2. And it was posted on August 19th, 2020. In this interview, Nikki talks about a plethora of things, which stem from how she knew she was trans, her parents' reactions, her not wanting to wear the swim trunks, which I will play in a minute, and her diagnosis with body dysmorphia. And then also she talks about how the doctor may have played around with giving her the diagnosis of personality disorders. So check it out.
We went bathing suit shopping at Target, and, they got bathing suits that she forced me to put on. I use the word forced, but she made me put on a boy, the swimming trunks. And I had a full blown meltdown. I wish I had it, because I think I have it on one of our family videos, but a meltdown. The way they told me was I just cried, screamed, had a fit, said I didn't want to put it on, I didn't want to wear it. And my mom couldn't even put it over my kneecap. She wouldn't even get it on. I was screaming, having a fit. And she says, "What are you doing? What's going on here?" And she says, "You know what? Maybe it's just the color or the design." So we keep searching, and she finds this cute little outfit for school. And it was shorts and I think a shirt, boy shirt. And she goes, "Look, it's blue and there's fire trucks on it." And she was like, "I'm sure you would love that." I tried on, again, I have a hissy fit. I couldn't put it on. I was all over the place. So she said to me, "But I don't understand," at the time my name was Nicholas, whatever. "Why, are you, this lady is bad. Why are you, having a fit about this? You're a boy." And I was like, "Why can't I wear what Liana was wearing?"
Sorry, that was intentionally sped up. For those of you who know why, you know why. So Nikki said in this 2-hour interview that she was diagnosed with body dysmorphia. And then also they said they would figure out the personality disorders later on if it grew into that. This interview doesn't really lay into why she killed her family, but in this interview she does state that she was jealous of her sister and that she did have issues with her sister. And why can't she be like her sister? She said that a couple of times. Also in this interview, she discusses her life. So it's a good case study if you want to get to know the Nikki inside and get a feel for who Nikki is. The interviewer does a pretty effective job of getting Nikki to open up, and I will link the interview in the description section of this video. So I recommend checking it out if you want to learn more about Nikki. I watched it in hopes of getting information as to why she could commit such a heinous crime, but I didn't really find that. All I really got was a feel of a little bit more of who she was, and that's about it. But it is worth watching, and I do recommend it. And that's all I got for you. I'm out.